So Quebec might hold another independence referendum. The Liberals have zero plan to deal with it, and their main guy just quit. Cool, cool, cool. Everything's fine. Welcome back to Canadian Insights, where we cover the slow-motion train wreck that is Ottawa's response to literally anything. Today, we're diving into the fact that Mark Carney's government is about to face the biggest threat to national unity since the last time Quebec threatened to leave, and their strategy is basically we'll figure it out later. Spoiler alert, later is now star. Alright, let's set the scene. The Parti Québécois, the PQ, is absolutely crushing it in Quebec polls right now. And when I say crushing it, I mean they've been leading for 2 solid years. Their leader, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, sounds like a guy who orders his coffee in both official languages just to flex, and is promising a third independence referendum if he wins in October. Not if, sorry, when he potentially wins, because he's looking at majority government territory. That's not a drill, folks. That's a maybe start learning the new national anthem situation. Now, you'd think the federal Liberals would have their ducks in a row on this one, right? Like, maybe a binder labeled What to Do When Quebec Wants to Break Up With Us, 3rd edition? But nope. According to sources who spoke to the National Post, the Liberals don't have a strategy. They don't even have the beginning asterisk of a strategy. What they have is the political equivalent of showing up to an exam and realizing you studied for the wrong subject. Here's where it gets spicy. Steven Guilbeault, the former Quebec lieutenant, the guy who was supposed to be mapping out a federal response to the PQ, actually started working on something revolutionary, I know. He was asking the big questions. Should we have messages? Should we do media appearances? What kind of appearances? Groundbreaking stuff. He was basically at the brainstorming in a Google Doc phase of strategy development. And then, plot twist, he resigned in late November. Just peaced out. His office said he was unavailable for comment, which is political speak for, I'm pretending my phone doesn't exist. So Guilbeault starts sketching out a plan, doesn't finish it, and then exits stage left faster than a hockey player heading to the penalty box. Classic. And now we're left with a half-baked strategy that's about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. The Liberals are essentially flying blind into what could be the most significant constitutional crisis in decades, and their pilot just grabbed a parachute. Enter Joel Lightbound, Guilbeault's successor as Quebec lieutenant. Now, Lightbound is described by sources as having a more discreet approach. Discreet. That's code for not going to make waves. The kind of guy who whispers at rock concerts. And look, maybe that's strategic. Maybe flying under the radar is the move when you're dealing with Quebec nationalism. But here's the thing, the PQ isn't being discreet. They are shouting their intentions from the rooftops. They are basically holding up a giant neon sign that says referendum coming soon, and the Liberals are responding with discreet vibe star. It's like bringing a library card to a cage match. Lightbound's office also declined an interview request, citing lack of time. Lack of time. The guy whose job is literally to manage Quebec relations doesn't have time to talk about the looming referendum threat. That's like a fire chief saying they're too busy to discuss the building that's actively on fire. Sources say Lightbound is expected to settle into his role in the new year, which means right now, in late December, with an October election on the horizon, the strategy is we'll get to it eventually. Bold choice. Jonathan Colles, who used to advise Justin Trudeau on Quebec and now works at Macmillan Vantage, pointed out something pretty obvious. Carney's team needs to figure out who their main spokespeople are for responding to the PQ. Like, yesterday. Because right now, it's crickets. The Liberals don't have a communication strategy, they don't have designated voices, and they apparently don't have a sense of urgency. It's like watching someone ignore their check engine light until the car breaks down on the highway and then acting shocked that there's a problem. And let's be real, this isn't the Liberals' first rodeo. We've had *2* referendums already. 1980 and 1995. You'd think there'd be a playbook. You'd think there'd be institutional memory. But nope, apparently every time Quebec gets referendum Y, Ottawa acts like it's the first time anyone's ever considered leaving Confederation. It's the political version of Who Moved My Cheese? Except the cheese has been moving in the same direction for 50 years. The stakes here are massive. If the PQ wins a majority and holds a referendum, we're talking about the potential breakup of Canada. That's not hyperbole, that's not fearmongering, that's literally what referendums on sovereignty are for star. And the federal government's response so far is to shrug and hope the problem solves itself. It's like ignoring a leak in your roof because you're hoping it'll just stop raining. The PQ has been crystal clear about their intentions. Paulson Pierre Plamondon isn't playing coy. He's not hedging. He's saying if we win, we're holding a referendum in our first mandate. That's about as straightforward as Canadian politics gets. And yet, the Liberals are treating this like it's some distant theoretical possibility instead of a 10-month countdown to a potential constitutional crisis. So where does that leave us? Well, the Liberals are scrambling to replace their Quebec lieutenant with someone who might eventually develop a strategy that addresses a threat that's been visible for 2 years. It's reactive, it's disorganized, and it's a masterclass in how not to manage a national unity crisis. Meanwhile, the PQ is running a well-oiled campaign machine, building momentum, and positioning themselves for a historic win. One side is prepared, focused, and energized. The other side is figuring out who should talk to the media. And here's the kicker. Even if Lightbound develops a brilliant strategy tomorrow, even if the Liberals suddenly find their footing, they've already lost precious time. They've let the PQ control the narrative, set the terms of debate, and build unstoppable momentum. That's not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for watching history repeat itself, except this time with even less preparation. Look, Canadian politics doesn't stop being weird just because it's almost New Year's. And neither do we. If you want to stay on top of the chaos, the confusion, and the occasional competence that is Canadian Insights, hit that subscribe button. We're posting multiple times a day because apparently democracy never sleeps and neither do we. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think the Liberals can pull together a Quebec strategy in time, or are we watching a slow-motion disaster? And if you know anyone who needs to understand why 2026 might be very interesting, share this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.